I've been working with spiritual seekers for about 8 years altogether. I started at the Green Fair in Kingston. Somebody came up to us and said, I'm on the organising committee of a pagan festival called Lammas in Eastbourne, and I'd really like it if you could get together a team and come and do some of the kind of outreach that you've talked about. By the end of the first day, the organisers had said to us, we'd really like it if you could, come again. People who had had bad experience of Christians in the past were kind of saying that they felt comfortable with us, they felt that there was a light where we were, that where in the past they felt judged or they felt condemned, with us they felt that they were loved and they were accepted as they were.
The original idea was to come into a community, just try and unearth some sense of spirituality within that community through the arts. So what I wanted to do was put on an art exhibition which would throw open an invitation to the community. We were looking around for an empty space, a quirky venue where we could have an exhibition in the town, and we found this building here, which is an old abandoned hotel on the High Street in Colwyn Bay. We threw open the doors and let the community come in. At the moment we're a kind of fledgling community of folk who are looking out for one another, exploring some sense of spirituality through the arts.
Maybe around 7 or 8 years ago now, I was in a prayer group of 4 women, and we had a real passion for our town and for justice there. And there was a real socio-economic divide in the town, which had been expressed in the newspapers, that some of the areas of the town had very, very low levels of literacy and numeracy. And we just felt that God would want to do something about that, that was an issue of justice. So we'd noticed that the people from the sort of difficult parts of town were not represented in the churches and were kind of maybe not welcomed there. So we decided to set up a space that would welcome those people in, but maybe have less of the social and the cultural hurdles to church that people felt they couldn't surmount. So we hired some office space in some rooms in the marketplace, and we basically opened up this drop-in session twice a week there, where we wanted to combine social justice and social support for people, but also with faith and spirituality and the gospel. We didn't have a grand master plan. We were 4 housewives, but we just had this tug of our heart that God cares for these people, and how could that care be communicated, really?
The vicar who was working here decided to retire earlier than planned, and we felt called to come here. So we arrived to a very, very small congregation, and when we came, we thought it was important that we actually looked at the community so that they knew the church existed, and the church needed to be part of that community. Church isn't so much about Sundays anymore. I think for a lot of families, Sundays are their family days, and people will have conversations around a table where they won't feel that comfortable on a Sunday in something that's maybe a little bit more formal. And we find that food, people like anything, that they have food around the table.
I think every system, organisation, culture always gets stuck with business as usual and needs people that see new possibilities that are different to the way things are, and the church is no different to that at all. Pioneers are people that see new possibilities and then they're able to make them happen, and we sometimes call them dreamers who do.